Hey everybody, welcome back to another Slimefun Tips and Tricks episode. I'm your host Boomer, and today I wanted to jump in and talk a little bit about. There's been a lot of suggestions over the years about ways of measuring power usage. Some people have put in a request simply to say, hey, I want to be able to see how much do I generate, how much am I using, what's my net gain or loss. Others have wanted to know every single little thing about every single little bit, every single machine, and while that might not be feasible, there certainly is definitely room for expansion and potentially to add more features to what currently exists. There's nothing in core, but there are two add-ons that have the ability to provide you some power information. One of those is SF chunk info or Slimefun chunk info. So when we run the command SF chunk info, it's going to tell you about everything that's in this chunk. So you can see over here on the left, I've got about 160-ish machines that use power producing resources. So first of all, if you want to see what add-on a particular machine is from, it's going to tell you. If you want to see the impact on the server's performance, you can see that. Now, most of these machines probably aren't running because the associated storage units they're filling are probably full. But what you can see is the combined of all of those items, how much power per tick it's using in that chunk. So you can see in this chunk, yeah, I'm not really, using a whole lot of power. But let's go over to my infinity chunk. Let's see, I think it's one. Ooh, hello. Here we go. Oh, I know what I did. I walked right into it. Let's turn around. There we go. Okay, we're in the infinity chunk. So let's run the same thing command, SF chunk info. All right, so we have some network items, 49 infinity dust extractors, 34 infinity ingot formers, and one more regular ingot former. So again, we can see its networks and infinity expansion, and of course our energy connector. You can see the impact on the server, and here's where we can see the total power being consumed by those machines. And I've seen the infinity ingot former range from 100,000 to 150,000 joules per tick, depending on how many are running. Right now, in this chunk, I'm using over 450,000 joules per tick, or over 900,000 joules per second. So if I were to take a look at all the chunks I have generating and consuming power, I've got the ability to at least figure out how much I'm using at any given moment. But remember, that can change based on what machines are running and which ones aren't. Advanced Tech also has a machine that can help us a little bit called the Energy Central. This will give us three different pieces of information. The first one is how much power you're generating and how many items are actually generating power. So as you can see, I have 87 generators making 6.5 million joules per second. Not bad, we're getting going. Then you can also see the total capacitors. I generally don't run capacitors once I've automated any kind of solar or any kind of power generation. I will early game for sure, especially if they're solar, but at this point I'm able to make an infinity panel every, 15 minutes maybe, probably a little bit more frequently than that. And so I don't feel the need for capacitors considering they have a large buffer to begin with. But you can see the capacity in my network with all the buffers is over 334 million joules. And I'm generating 6.5 million per second. The one thing where I think this could be improved upon is the consumers. It tells you how many items are using power, but it doesn't tell you how much. And this would be, I think, a great potential change to Advanced Tech is to actually tell you, maybe you click on the furnace that's here, and it pulls up a list of all the items that are producing or using power, how much each one's using, so you summarize all the smelteries, all the ingot formers, all the ingot factories, all the same types of machines, because to list each one individually, and I mean, in some cases, that could be 100 screens worth of data or more, and it's just not feasible or reasonable to be able to do that. But to summarize it might be, it's just like the SF chunk info. So there are a couple of options at least where you can check out your power and you can kind of get a better gauge as to what's going on. So with that, guys, I want to say thank you. Appreciate you watching. I hope you found some benefit to that. And as always, when you're playing Slime Fun, you gotta go boomer or you gotta go home. We'll see you later.